Welcome to episode 181 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. I'm Ryan Walton. As always, I'm joined by Dan Reamer.
Yep, I'm here.
And Matt Bowden.
Thanks. I thought you forgot about me, honestly.
I didn't. I wanted Dan to have a little time, though.
Right.
Gotcha.
Because I'm
it's good to be here.
Because I'm the motherfucking man.
Ooh, okay.
Right.
Aggressive this morning.
You gonna rap for us now? I feel like that's a rap thing.
Lay down a sick freestyle.
I don't freestyle.
8 bars are your best flow.
You don't freestyle, everything has to be planned out. Give me something you wrote then.
I don't write things either.
Well, goddamn, what do you do?
Oh, worst rapper I've ever heard of.
I know. I believe it. But I haven't charted yet. Or ever.
Right.
Or even wrote a rap yet.
Don't leave it at ever, because
it could happen.
Because you could, yeah.
Yeah, it could still happen.
Maybe you're riding the bus to work tomorrow.
I could throw down some mad beats at some point. You're right.
Thinking about
Mad
your childhood.
beats.
It's probably not happening.
Have you seen 8 Mile?
I have seen 8 Mile.
I haven't seen 8 Mile. Am I missing out?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
8 Mile's
I've never-
okay.
That's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
It was actually, I remember when I first watched it, it was much, much better than I was anticipating.
That's what I was going to say. I think what benefited 8 Mile is everyone went in going, this is going to suck.
Right.
And when it didn't suck straight out, you're like, it's okay.
Oh.
Now that we just told you it was all right, so for you, it may not work.
Well, I
Right.
have an extreme hatred for Eminem. It's ill-placed. I don't know why I don't like Eminem, but I don't like him. And
It's a lot of Eminem.
See, I have
Brittany
never
Murphy
been
only works for me in
never been a fan.
certain ways.
I've
What
never
about
been a
if she's
fan.
having?
But I was.
What if she's having sex with Eminem?
No, see, the only time I've ever thought Brittany Murphy was worth a damn was in Sin City. She was really good opposite Clive Owens. Clive Owens.
Oh, you're not a
She's good
Brittany
in Plumber.
Murphy guy? It's got
Nah,
Pennsatucky in it too.
Does it?
That movie's okay. You should watch it.
Yeah, I mean,
Who else is it? Is it about
I'm
what's his
gonna
name?
steer clear.
Boheme Woodbine? Is that who it is?
If it doesn't have Jaimin Hanso in it, I don't give a fuck.
Just give it a watch. Report back to us.
Really?
I'm not going to.
Just
I'm
Jaimin
gonna watch.
Hanso? That's like
He's like my absolute favorite. Nobody knows his actual name.
So
actor.
you're a big fan of Beauty Shop, is what you're telling me.
Dude, How to Train Your Dragon 2, fucking everything ever movie. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I know
he's
he's in
in
Guardians.
Blood Diamond. Man, he's in everything.
Blood
Jaimin's
Diamond.
in every movie.
Blood Diamond is a
Every
horrible
movie.
movie.
Jaimin's in everything.
Blood Diamond's
in,
what?
It's a great movie.
Oh.
I think Dan said horrible. Let me tell you a movie that you don't know that Jaimin's in. You like Fast and Furious 7?
Oh, I know he's in
Jaimin
it.
is fucking in it, dude.
I know, and he gets killed in a helicopter in the end. So there, I guess
Yeah.
they did know it, huh?
In the most
Smart-ass.
badass way ever. Man, Jaimin's fucking the best.
Exhibits in it.
Exhibits in
Yeah.
it.
No.
Exhibits. Faggot.
Obi
Hate
Trice.
Exhibit. Who?
Obi
Are
Trice.
you just looking at the IMDb?
Yeah.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here with that. You can't do that.
Omar Benson Miller.
You
Your
can't
boy?
do that. You can't do that. We're going to go see Tarzan tomorrow. I got free passes for that.
Damn, that's the only way you should see it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was the only acceptable way that we would walk into a movie theater to watch it. But I fully expect Jaimin to be in that movie also.
What if I told you Eminem's name in the movie was B Rabbit?
That's stupid too. We saw the
Like
Conjuring
Bunny
2 last week, like the Monday before it came out, and I was pleasantly surprised by that. I didn't expect it to be as good, but it wasn't as good as the first one. So if you guys are into horror, watch out for Conjuring 2. Pretty good. There's a creepy ass nun in that shit.
Probably gonna skip that one.
Check it out, dude.
I've been very much into the last few weeks. I've been into the B movie horror.
Oh yeah, like
saw-
watching Creep and stuff like that.
Yeah, Critters, Night
Oh,
of the
like-
Creeps,
Like old '80s style
yeah, I
horror,
watched-
like the
I
'80s
watched-
B style.
Yeah, I actually bought Maniac Cop 1 and 2.
Maniac Cop 1, terrible film. Maniac Cop 2, they really turned it up for that
No,
one.
but
That
you have
one was
to
good.
watch them together.
Well, yeah, if they're basically one movie. If you miss the first 20 minutes of Maniac Cop 2, you're like, why is this guy a Maniac
Right,
Cop?
right.
But Maniac Cop 2's got the meat and potatoes of the story.
It's like it's like the Godfather of horror action films, because
Yeah, it is.
You gotta, like, 1 and 2. You gotta watch. They could have cut parts out of Godfather 1 and 2 and spliced it in and made it just one long movie. That's Maniac Cop 1 and 2.
You could probably supercut the two films and get something closer to RoboCop. I've always thought.
So good. And then I watched on Netflix. I finally watched Zombievers. And Wolf
How was
Cop.
that?
And Wolf Cop.
Wolf Cop's fantastic.
Wolf Cop is great.
Yeah, Wolf Cop. Anything that's just something cop, like Wolf Cop, Samurai Cop,
Maniac Cop.
Maniac Cop, yeah, they're all, RoboCop, they're all really good. If you're into Wolf Cop and you thought that was good and you haven't watched Kung Fury, check that one out too. Kung Fury is fantastic.
Oh, I think I have some
and there's another one that's on there. Something Kid. What is that movie?
IP Kid?
No. There's,
no, it's IP Man.
Yeah, it's oh man, what the hell is the name of that kid movie?
The superhero one?
Yeah, he's got like a power glove from the 80s. It's like Mad Max, but it's a kid.
Yeah.
Turbo Kid.
Man, that's it.
Turbo Kid's fantastic too.
So yeah,
it's that new style that's a throwback to, like what if there was a knockoff Mad Max made in the 80s, but they made it last year or whatever. Turbo Kid's good though.
But yeah, and Zombievers was exactly what Zombievers needed to be.
Yeah. It
was a throwback to a late 70s, early 80s, Friday the 13th, I think, where they go in the cabin and then the zombies our zombie beavers come after them, and it's...
That was just awesome.
Naturally.
I've wanted to watch that since the first time you brought it up on this show, and it's been on my watch list, and I've never had the time where I thought, like if I lose this 2 hours, I'm going to be okay, So I've just been holding out, waiting to watch it.
I'm saying you watch that shit. It's good.
Right.
But that's what I've been in the mood for, is the 80s stuff. I've been in the mood because I listen to a podcast where they talk about a lot of the older stuff. A lot of B-movie, junk food cinema. I think I told you about it. And shout out to them guys because I love them. And so every now and then, I've seen all the movies that they've talked about, because when I was growing up, that's what every day we went and rented video, VCR tapes.
Right, you go down to the video store.
Yeah, I had a
Did
place.
you have the kind where you take the box to the counter, or you take the tag off the nail to the counter?
No, you take the box.
Oh, gotcha.
Take the box to the counter. And but I knew the people who owned it, because they also owned the store right up the corner store right up the street.
Yeah.
Across the street from that, they had opened up a video store, and so I knew them. And
what was it called?
A Video Outlet.
Great name.
Mm-hmm. And it was always, so they pretty much always did. I would rent one, but they would let me take another one for free. So I always got buy one get one free. So
did they have a room of adult movies?
They did, and I
that you always wanted to be able to go into.
I did. I always wanted to be able to go into.
Uh-huh.
Then I never.
I miss those days.
way better than Pop's Video, where they just had the binder on the counter that you could pop up.
Yeah, but I miss those days of like movie stores.
Oh yeah, there was something about them that was great. They smelled funny, but they were a great place to hang out and meet people and talk about movies.
Here's the thing about it: it was before the internet,
so
every time it was all about the discovery. There's no discovery anymore.
Yeah,
but it was about the discovery. You're like, what is this?
Yeah, you read the back of the box, you stand there, and you talk to other people. Someone walks up, and I saw that last week. It was good. You're like, thanks, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and
it's so organic.
There's none of that discovery anymore, and they didn't make movies all the time. This was before Sundance and before really the big independent movement. So,
yeah. Well, your local video store would only get certain movies in too. They would only get so many certain movies because they had to pay $200 for a copy.
Right. So yeah, I miss those days. Those were. There were days me and my friend would just go, for a weekend, I'd go to his house on a Friday and come home on a Sunday. We would just go rent, 6 or 8 movies and just watch them.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, at Pop's Video, man, it's closed down now, finally. Molly finally sold it, but that was probably the first place that I ever met Ryan.
Probably.
It was... We were in school, but that's probably the first place that we actually had a conversation over a video game.
That place died to me though. When I went and they had the games
case
for sale.
Oh yeah, when they were selling them in the cardboard box up front.
Well, yeah, and they had Harvest Moon for Super Nintendo.
But they had no game for it.
Yeah, but they wouldn't sell me the box.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll give you the $10 for the box, and no offense, the whore behind the counter wouldn't do it because she didn't have the game, and she's like, I don't know how to ring it up. I'm like, ring it up as the game.
Right, just you don't have the game, just get rid of the box.
And she said, but if we find the game later...
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you now, though, we'll never find that game because it was missing for about 14 fucking years.
I just wanted the box.
Pop's Video had like a credit card sat in front of the case, and you take the credit card up to the counter, right? And it's got some arbitrary number on it, and they go and they grab you a case of the game. Harvest Moon was there for... I moved to town when I was like 10, 11. Harvest Moon was gone from the day I moved until the day Pop's Video shut down, as far as I know. It was never there.
Someone probably just rented it and never returned it.
Yeah, right. I always thought it was you. I always thought you just rented it and never returned. Or like Josh, or I don't know. I always assumed it was you, though. I thought it was you the whole time. I always thought you had it.
But they died that day to me. And it's not her fault. You know, she's like 16 and doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
Unacceptable for me, though.
Yeah.
She wasn't 16. She was grown.
She's a grown-ass woman.
Well, she's young. She's probably like 19, but unacceptable. When a guy is handing you money for something that's for sale, you just fucking sell it.
You just take the money. Yeah.
That's what you're paid to do.
Yeah. I bet they threw that box away. I bet they just tossed it.
I guarantee you. They left a note, someone came in, couldn't find it, and they fucking tossed it. And a little piece of my heart went with it.
Yeah, they burned it. Probably had the instruction manual with it, too.
Because you have the game, but not the case?
No, I don't have the game. But the box is a good start to having the game.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a real shame.
Real shame.
Real shame.
Fucking shame.
Yep. Oh, God, I'm stretching. I'm tired.
Well, that was a nostalgic talk.
Trip down memory lane, some people would call it.
Yeah. Some would call it a blast from the past.
Oh, yeah. Throwback.
Yep.
You got one, Matt?
The good old days.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't mind taking a trip down every now and then.
Me either. I wouldn't want to live there anymore, though. Well, no, actually, I might.
I'll tell you somewhere I would want to live. New York City. Never want to go there again.
No, you didn't like it?
Jeez,
did you go to Times Square?
I hate it. Yep, we went to Times Square, yeah.
Just too busy? Too much hustle and bustle for you?
Yeah, exactly. So we took vacation like over the last podcast or two, right? So we got back from New York-Pittsburgh trip. We went to...
A wedding because you don't have your priorities straight. Yeah, all of our listeners know.
You're right. Went to Hoboken, went into the city. Like, we stayed in Hoboken.
Did you go to Carlos Bakery?
And then no. We went to Eileen's Cheesecake, that's supposed to be the place to get cheesecake. It was all right. It was cheesecake. We had Criff Dogs, dude. That's what you go to. You got to go to New York to get Criff Dogs and Papaya Dog. Those two things are worth the trip.
Did you just up a New York slice?
Yeah, not impressed. Listen,
fuck you, buddy.
Let me say this, Dan, because I understand why you like it.
Go eat your fucking Papa John's and shut your fucking pie.
No, dude. Look, I enjoyed the pizza. I enjoyed every bite of it because the toppings were like insanely fresh, lots of cheese. They lose me on the crust. I understand why, like, Ryan will absolutely love it because he likes the cracker crust. The crust was like, it was like crunchy, not like a cracker. Like, it didn't just fall apart when I bit into it, so that was fine. But it was just too thin. There's just a thin crust just doesn't do it for me, but there was like a little crispiness to it, but it was soggy enough to fold. I don't know. There's this weird texture to the crust there, and it doesn't chew at all, which I like a chewy crust. But man, the toppings were fantastic. The slice that I got was just like pounds of cheese and then just like slices of tomato and like basil on top of it. It was brilliant pizza, and the slice was like as long as my forearm. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't my kind of slice. But man, you guys do dogs like perfect up there. The Criff Dog that's worth the trip. So it's a spiral cut hot dog, all beef frank, deep fried. All beef dog, spiral cut,
deep fried.
Like what else could you want?
So you got the nice thick with the skin on it. That beef hot?
Yeah, dude. It's got like when they deep fry it, like they cut it like that so you get the inside, but that's even deep fried, that skin just like pops hard when you take a chew.
That's how you know they're done. Skin pops open.
It's so good. And there's like little blisters on it, and it's got little pops where it cracks. Oh, dude, it's like the best hot dog I've ever had. And you get it kraut and onions, mustard, right? Spicy brown, kraut and onions. That's kind of how they come naturally in New York, which is really the only way to eat a hot dog. So you guys did it right on the toppings too. But Criff dogs, on top of just like a regular Crowd Onions mustard dog, they have this thing called the John John. And it's a Criff dog, like the spiral cut deep fried. But they do it like an everything bagel. So it's got a big smear of cream cheese down one side, green onions, and then that like the black seeds that come on an everything bagel sprinkled down the middle.
Like a poppy seed?
Poppy seed, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I thought my stomach was going to turn and I was going to barf when I saw it. But then when I ate it, it was everything I wanted in a hot dog. There was something really refreshing in the 90-degree heat. Yeah.
That sounds good.
About cream cheese on a hot dog, man. It was good. Papaya dog was the same way. They have this papaya relish that I wasn't in love with, but, you know, that's how they come, so you got to eat it. But the city was too... So here's the way that I've described it to people after coming back. You know how, like, when you get on the interstate, you kind of have to know where you're going. You get out there, you get up to speed, you go to where you're going, you get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
Walking in New York is like that. Yep. Like, you have to, when you exit the building, you have to know, all right, I'm going left, I'm going down 4 blocks, and then I'm going to cut into this building, I'm going to get the fuck out of everybody else's way. And you have to walk like that. So, my, like, super southern ass wanting to, like, meander and stare at shit didn't cut it in New York.
And, of course, that's down there in the shopping districts and all that. You know, once you get, like, out in, you know, Greenwich or Soho or one of those, it slows down a little bit.
Yeah, we went up to like St. Mark's and had time to like look around. Went to Barcade, and they retweeted us actually, which was awesome. Thanks, Barcade. I had a great time there. So we went to Barcade and we went to like that kind of stuff that's kind of out away from everything. And we had a little bit more time to kind of walk and look and diddle fuck around. And like Shake Shack was over by we went to a Shake Shack over by the Natural History Museum and had a lot of time to like look and be touristy. But when you get into like where the Nintendo store is down at like Rockefeller Plaza over to Times Square, like that area, like you're fucked, dude. You either move or you get trampled.
Well, I have an important question.
Yeah.
I've heard Shake Shack shakes don't live up to it.
Nah, they're good.
I've heard from multiple people that Shake Shack will let you down with a shake.
Shake Shack's hamburger is by far the best hamburger
I've heard the food is
had.
good. I've heard the shake will let you down.
Shake Shack's shake is a shake, and you have to take this with a grain of salt. I don't like ice cream, so
does it make the tum tum hurt?
No, I just don't like it. It's a shake. It's a shake is a shake to me, just like ice cream is ice cream.
Yeah, but I've had better shakes. I know what you're saying, but I've had better shakes.
No, they're pretty good. There's none of that shit where you suck on the straw for 25 minutes trying to get it up the straw. Like, it's smooth enough to like be drinkable without having to let it melt first.
It's very important, by the way.
Yeah, that's probably the most important part, unless you want like a double thick milkshake, right? They don't come naturally double thick, and they. I don't know. Flavor-wise, they were ice cream. They were all right.
What did you get?
The salted caramel. It was just salted caramel and vanilla ice cream.
Gotcha.
Just blended together. It was good. It was a shake. They have a beer that they keep on tap too.
Is that made out of ice cream too?
No, they just have a beer that we got.
They sell you a beer float?
I think they called. I don't think so. We didn't ask.
Beer
floats. Probably sell you anything you want.
That's right.
Unless it's Harvest Moon.
Except for this Harvest Moon case.
Right. I think they advertised their beer as an ale, but it was very clearly like a Pilsner. Like maybe a lager.
Was it a cream ale?
Nah, it was like a shake something burger ale. But it wasn't like cloudy enough to be an ale. It wasn't, it was that crystal clear like lager Pilsner thing, but it kind of was floral like an IPA. I don't know, it was weird. But it wasn't really an IPA either. I don't know. It was good. I didn't finish it. It wasn't great. So anyway, fucking Shake Shack. They were cool. Barcade has shit for beer, but they have a lot of video games to play, so that was fun. Played Crazy Taxi.
God, sit down or stand up?
It was the stand-up one.
God damn it.
Yeah, but
so
they had
a stool there.
Crazy
Taxi.
You could like pull a stool up and play. Now, what was weird was it's like somebody had been wrecking their steering wheel because it had a dead spot in it that when you turned to a certain point to the right, it's like you had jerked the wheel all the way to the left for like a split second.
It's probably because someone wanted to play the sit-down and all they had was a stand-up.
Right, so they just smashed their beer into the thing, yeah.
I don't trust the stand-up one. Because...
It's not as enjoyable, but I definitely played it.
But when it started, did you smile? When it was like, Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, and Ricky
Yeah.
played it for the first time ever. She didn't even know what Crazy Taxi was, so
Take
she
me
had
to
the time of her
KFC.
life. Yeah,
Take me to the helipad.
Right.
Take me to church.
Yeah, she had a good time playing that. Take me to the Levi's store, please.
God damn it, that game was good.
Um,
It can't be good now, but it was like that one can be, but like a new Crazy Taxi can't be good.
yeah. So we did that, and we played. I beat her ass at NBA Jam Arcade.
Mm-hmm.
We played some. I think I played some Ninja Turtles, some Mortal Kombat, Tekken, like your run of the mill stuff. But we found this gym, and I tweeted it out. This is what we got a retweet from Barcade. I can tell you what it was. It was a Konami game, 3-player. It was like an RPG that you play with like sticks. Man, it was weird. But you couldn't there was no way to tell which plane you were on laterally. So you moved in a 3D space like on a grid, but you were looking at your character in like a 2D sprite. So when you had to walk across bridges and stuff, you would just always walk off the bridge and die. It was great fun. We couldn't stop laughing at how just goofy it controlled and how great the game was. So yeah, there was that. We had a good time. Then we went to Pittsburgh, saw the Pirates play at PNC. They got their ass beat by the Cards. Went down a submarine, dude, like a World War II era submarine. I'm so glad I never had to do that in my life. My grandfather did, and I have this huge respect for that guy now. It's cramped in there, man. It smells like oil. I still have a headache from it. It was a good vacation. We needed it. We need to get out of Nashville. We need to go see some stuff. I would have much rather gone somewhere else besides New York, but at least now I can say I've been. So that was fine.
Dark Adventure.
Dark Adventure, that's the one. Yeah.
It looks good.
It really is, man.
You've got
it's
an
a lot of
Indiana
fun.
Jones type character.
We pumped like $5 into that machine. It was fun.
You've got like a sexy looking Princess Peach.
Uh-huh.
And you've got a blonde dude with a spear.
Yeah, so it was kind of like having Indiana Jones. The guy, he was like a doctor.
He clearly looks like Indiana Jones, though.
Yeah, but the other guy was like a scientist.
Oh, really? That's a lab coat.
Yeah, he has like a lab coat on, but he has like a sword or a spear.
Spear, it's a spear.
You can change weapons. You can pick up another weapon, which was what was really so. Like if the princess had the sword, but if she died, you could walk over and grab the sword.
Is she a princess?
I assume so. I don't know.
Oh, I see up top. You can see.
Yeah, you can see like the
Indiana
you can see like
Jones, the Doctor, and
the like badass
Lady
painting.
of the Night. Yeah,
like, it's back when games were like
there's snakes in front of them.
Yeah, dude, there were these minotaurs, and you had to like blow up these ant hills, and like there were keys that you had to go find. It was crazy.
If you haven't seen this, go to our Twitter at @game_stitch. It was sent out on the 7th, 6/7.
What a great game. So if you live in the New York area, if you're making a trip up there to New York City, man, go play at Barcade. Yeah, it was fantastic. We walked in just at the right time. We walked in kind of just as they opened, and by the time we left 2 hours later, it was packed. You couldn't move. It was fun. It was a good time. And I don't like bars, but we did a lot of bar hopping up there, so there's a lot to do. I went to a little place called Point Break, where they have this big painting of Patrick Swayze on the wall with like roses all around it. And then we went to this other place. It was like a surf-themed bar.
Probably. New York's big for their themed bars.
Yeah, like there were two like Point Break surfer-themed bars. One was called Point Break and had the Patrick Swayze shrine, and the other one was just like it was more like you went to the beach. You got like, go down in this basement, and then it's like you're at a beach somewhere. It was cool. Here's the thing that New York does better than everywhere else, especially Nashville, is music in your like eateries or your bars, right? If you've ever gone to a bar in Nashville, having a conversation with the person beside you or across the table from you is impossible because they blast the music here, like to the point that your head hurts after 5 minutes. Like you can't hear anything except for this music. It's too loud for it to be audible. They just turn the music up so loud here. New York, the city specifically, the music's at a very nominal level. Like you hear people talking. And if you listen hard, you hear music. And that's the way it should be. So fuck you, Nashville. Ambient. Go to hell.
Right, it should be ambient. It should just...
yeah. It should just be there.
It should just lift up the situation you're in, not fucking inundated into your eardrums.
Right. It shouldn't be like, all I can hear is this song, and I can't talk to anybody. It should be like, every once in a while, I would hear, and I go, oh, man, I know this song. This song's great, right? And everybody's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And you have to, like, listen for it. I think
it's also fair to say that Nashville is much more about getting your music noticed than New York is.
Yeah, fuck Nashville. I hope Nashville has a large London-style fire and is no more very soon.
Speaking of fire,
there you go.
Yeah,
Matt played
Homeland Security
PlayStation
is going to be
VR.
knocking on your door.
He played
Right.
PlayStation VR, and I want to
did.
talk about that.
Yeah, I played PlayStation VR yesterday. Where do you want me to start with this? The line
beginning.
that was an hour.
Always start at the beginning.
Always start at the beginning.
So the
don't
VR
have-
experience
yeah.
is going around at Best Buys. That's what you went
Yeah.
to. I think just
Just-
talk about
Just detail your
experience with VR.
experience,
Yeah,
not
so
necessarily, you don't
Yeah,
have
it
to
was-
dig into the games you played, but just your overall feel for it.
So it was 10 minutes in the headset, which was plenty of time for me. And so let me skip to the end of the experience. 10 minutes in the headset. When I was in the headset, I was fine. When they take the headset off, I had a headache. I was dizzy. That 10 minutes felt a lot longer than it was when I was in there. And when I got out, I had a headache for the rest of the day. Ricky did it. She had the same experience of a long-lasting headache after playing in the VR for 10 minutes. And she did the so they had the game with the shark, right, where you're in the dive cage. Ricky played that one. All she could do was look around and had a headache.
It's an
so
experience.
she didn't even have full control.
Not a game.
And I played Valkyrie, which is like a space fighter. So I had full control and got a headache also. So I think it's just the VR gives you a headache because of how disorienting it is. It's comfortable. Valkyrie is like a space, you use both sticks to navigate the ship. Anyway, it's like a space fighter, right? It's very intuitive. Like, you don't need to invert the controls. They're naturally inverted, and it makes sense because you can look down and see your hands. And when you pull back on the sticks, the hands move backwards, and so you get the idea of like how the ship works immediately before you ever take flight. You can look completely around you, up, down, all the way back, which is really great in the game that I played specifically. Like, if somebody was coming up behind me shooting, instead of having to like spin the plane around, I could just turn around and look over my shoulder and see how many people were shooting from behind and which way I needed to go to get away from them. So, like, intuitive functions are a big part of it. There was no tutorial on how to play the game. There was no, like, this button does this, you need to... There was none of that shit. It's just there. And your fingers kind of know what to do. So, if there was ever a Call of Duty type game that took advantage of this, it would be fantastic that you could just... I got taken fire from behind, let me turn around and make sure it's not my own guy. And then you can react accordingly, just like real life. So gameplay-wise, I think it's great. I think it's going to be fine. I think the experiences... What I was most concerned with was experiences versus games weren't going to work as well. But full games are going to work fine, just like Eve Valkyrie. It was great. I can't wait to play more games on it. Experiences are... I feel like you should get like several on a disc if you're paying $60, right? You should get like the shark thing. You should get the Batman thing.
So I think you will, maybe, not those two specifically, but I think you'll get full, like, either long experiences where it's like watching a movie, or you'll get shorter,
because they're
snippets.
short.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 10 minutes was the shark thing, and that's about as long as you could do it because Ricky was reacting like pretty hard to what she was seeing.
Did it freak her out?
Yeah, when it happened.
Heard that.
But
I've heard that.
She didn't make like sound. She didn't like scream or anything. Like, she was aware that she was in a video game, but she definitely like jumped back when the shark was there. So it was cool. There's a lot to take in on the experiences because you never know which direction you're supposed to look, I think. So she was doing a lot of like looking over her shoulder to make sure she wasn't missing something from behind.
Or getting attacked.
Right, or that. So I don't know how clear that is. I didn't play that one. I wasn't ever going to.
Right.
But I think like when it comes to Call of Duty, Resident Evil, Valkyrie, Riggs, I think those games are perfect for VR. And the way that I played was sitting in a chair. Miss Donna was there, the Sony rep that we all know, and they wouldn't let you play any game standing up. But for games like that, you really don't need to stand. You actually need a chair with arms that swivels so that it's easier for you to crane your neck around. But sitting down, I played with the DualShock 4 controller also, because that's the hands in the game. When you look down at your own hands, were in the position of the DualShock, so you could see like triangle, cross, circle, square. Right on your right hand, there was a joystick that your hand was on, but then the buttons on top of it showed those, and you could see what they all did. And then same for the left one, it showed one button, which would be the pressing L3, and then the stick. So, and the triggers were in the right place and all that stuff. So it was really like I didn't need the motion controllers for it. The DualShock 4 works well with it also. So I'm less concerned now with gameplay and what you're getting out for your money now. To me, the $400 is a little bit more justified. I think for $200, it's an easy buy. I think for $400, you just have to have that right game come out. There's a lot of concern with the quote-unquote screen door effect, right? And I think this was, Ryan, I think this was your biggest concern with it, was how does that look, right?
I just wondered. I mean, that's something everyone that plays it talks about.
Right.
That it's like looking through a super high def image through a screen door.
Right. And so here's what I'll say about that. It is for about 25 seconds. When you put the headset on, because the first minute that you got the headset on, you're trying to get it straight. Because if it's too far up or too far down or left or right, one of your eyes will go blind because it's not lined up to the screen correctly, right? So once the headset's oriented, you go, oh, what's this? What it looks like to me is, you know how you get ant races on a TV back in the day? You get the white and the black static. If you took the white away and you just had the black static, it's not like there's a set image. There's just little black dots popping up everywhere, but it's faint.
Go ahead.
Well, what happens is once your brain kind of adjusts to the world that you're in, you don't see that anymore. It's completely imperceptible. It's there if you look if you take yourself out of the experience of the game and you're looking around for the technical aspect of the headset, you will see it. But once you get the headset on, once you see the game, you take one quick look around. By the time you've moved your head a couple of times, you don't see that anymore. You really only see this really nice crisp high def image. So the screen door thing it's only there if you can manage to make yourself concentrate on it. So I wouldn't concentrate too much on that. I wouldn't want to watch a movie in VR. I can't see. I don't know if being not part of the experience and just watching something, you know, like if you're watching a movie, it's kind of passive. I don't know if that would make the screen door effect show more. But even what Ricky was doing with just you're just there and all you're doing is looking around. She said she would get a glimpse of it now and again if she looked into a very dark area, but otherwise she didn't notice it either.
Did the cords bother you?
No, there weren't any to speak of. The headset has two that run off one side, and then they put headphones on you. But I didn't even know they were touching me.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, if the cords... I've heard the headset's really light, but I wondered if the cords, if you feel like a tug.
Yeah, the headset's fantastic. You clamp it on a little tight, but jiggling your head around, you don't notice that it's there. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall off. The cords, I didn't even know they were there. I thought it was wireless until she took it off.
What about the glasses?
The goggles themselves?
No, your glasses.
Oh, fine. Fine. Yeah, no problems.
What about the light coming through the bottom?
There's no light. Okay. It was completely blacked out. There's a flap that holds around your nose and underneath your eyes. There's no light that enters. You're completely blacked out as soon as you get in there.
So those are my main concerns.
Yeah.
Because I've heard people talk about a faint light coming through the bottom.
Yeah, if you've got a stupid head, if you don't put the headset on the right way, you're going to have that. If you don't, Miss Donna was talking to me about it before she put the headset on. She was like, hey, you want to smush the thing against your face where it's comfortable, and then I'm going to tighten the strap to it. You don't put your head against the back of the strap and then try to tighten the goggles to your face. You put the goggles against your face so that you don't see any light and so that you can see the screen, and then you tighten the headset to the back of it. So that's probably a user error to see light coming in.
Could be.
Here's the thing that is noticeable is headsets. When you put headphones on over the top of it, your ears aren't closed off completely. So until the game starts and you're having sound come through, you can hear the outside world, which it's fine. But in a noisy Best Buy, every once in a while, I got a little bit of outside noise, but the headphones did not go completely around my ears because my ears are huge. So earbuds are probably the best way to go here, or if you can isolate yourself in a room with some really nice headphones, that's fine. The headset is in the way of where the cup of an earphone would go. So you're always going to have a gap there unless you're using earbuds. So you probably, I would say if you're going to invest $400 in a VR headset, if you want audio isolation also, you probably want to invest a couple $100 in some in-ear monitors from Sony, like some, what the 125s. I can't think of what the call number is, but like really nice isolated in-ear monitors are probably a good way to go too, and just make it a $500 purchase, a $600 purchase. The box that sits beside the PlayStation that handles the processing for VR is about the size of like if you took two DualShocks and put them trigger to trigger. It's about that big, but it looks just like a PS4. It looks like a little bit tiny PS4 with cables coming out of it. Yeah, it's quite large. It's probably a quarter of the size of a PS4.
Yeah,
maybe more than that, maybe a third. But it has HDMI through, which is really nice. So everything that I was seeing was also going off to a 1080p HD screen. It wasn't letterbox or anything. Everything was 1080, and everybody could watch and see what I was doing. So when I was playing Eve Valkyrie, Miss Donna and a couple of people in line and Ricky all said that they were getting motion sick watching me play because because your head's independent now. Like you steer. In this case, your ship in a certain direction, but you can move your head to the left or right while you're making. Say you look left while you're turning right to see what's on your left hand side, and then when you whip your head back around, that's kind of jarring. When you're in there, you don't notice it. It feels very natural. But some of the stuff that I was doing to fly the spacecraft, like doing barrel rolls or like turning upside down against. Like if there was a ship at my bottom, I would turn upside down so that it was above my head and like pull up to fly around the nose of it. They were saying that stuff like that was making them feel dizzy. So, it wasn't like the Samsung VR. If I pitched my head, like my ear to my shoulder, my head did that in the game too. So I didn't get motion sick playing it this time, which was really nice. That was my big concern, was how sick am I going to get if I can't feel gravity, if I can't pitch my head and have it react. And really the only thing that takes you out of feeling like you're in that game for real is weight, gravity, right? There's no G-force to anything. So if you're playing a flight simulator, when you pull up, you should sink into the chair. You don't get that, but otherwise it's very very like you very much feel like you're in it, like you're there. I think it's a great. I'm considering buying one at this point. I haven't played it.
So to wrap it up, where are you at now personally?
Yeah. I went from this is something that I need to play at somebody else's house to see if I'm even interested, to now like I went from 0% chance to buy to probably like 70% chance to go buy this. I actually had an enjoyable experience with this.
That's why they're set up, because that is the thing with VR. You have to experience it for you and see if it works.
Yeah. Eve Valkyrie and Riggs are going to be worth it for me. I'm more interested to see if games that I give a shit about later are going to be VR compatible right out of the box. No Man's Sky should be VR compatible, by the way. That's having played Eve Valkyrie, No Man's Sky needs it.
So this experience is going on for the next couple weekends. So if you just search VR experience and type in your zip code, you can see if it's anywhere near you, and if it is, check it out.
Yeah, if anybody has the opportunity, absolutely go do it. I'll tell you this, we got there and there were 6 people in front of us. That short line was an hour and 15-minute wait, because it's roughly 10 minutes a person. So if you get there and there are like 15 people in line, go home, because you probably won't get in to view it. I mean, we went there the second day that they'd had it on already, and people that came in right after us had said that they were back because they got turned away the day before. So if the line is super long, like talk to the Sony rep that's standing there, because you might not get in. The wait time on not many people is very long. So make sure you got the afternoon blocked out. But 100% worth it if you get the chance. And if you're like Ryan and you were going to buy in no matter what, if you just really need that affirmation, go do it. If you're like me and you are on the fence, go play it, just so that you know for sure whether or not you like it. But for me, this is just something that now is closer to being worth it. And were they to say, like, hey, Battlefield 1's VR, or hey, this awesome game that you like, War Thunder is going to be VR compatible, that's fantastic. But like, just if anything that's in first person, it should be VR compatible. If they say Gran Turismo Sport, there's a good chance that that'll be what seals the deal for me. So,
very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Tanner writes into podcast at Gamestitch.com just like you can.
Nice segue.
You like that? It didn't feel forced at all, did it?
Nah, it was great.
And he says,
it's like
hey,
a whole new podcast now.
He said, hey guys, I just turned 17 and for the first time I'm earning my own money. This means I have money that I need to spend before my parents make me do something responsible with it. So my question is simple. What the hell is coming out soon that you guys are looking forward to? Love the show, Tanner.
Who wants to take the ball on this one?
So,
go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll start. I'll focus on what's coming out. We'll say summer. I did pull a really cool list from Kotaku where they kind of just wrap up what's coming out in the summer, just for reference. So I'm excited about No Man's Sky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about Inside. Inside's your first one, July 7th. That's the follow-up to Limbo. I think that looks really cool if you have an Xbox One or a PC. So I'm going to get that. No Man's Sky. And then I think the only other thing I'm really looking forward to this summer is Abzu for PS4, which is a underwater diving exploration game, which is pretty much made for just this guy right here.
Yeah.
And that's coming out August 2nd. So, I mean, those are really the experiences that I'm looking forward to this summer. Understand, and if you listen to this podcast, you probably know I play weird shit. So you may not like the things that I play, but that's what I'm looking forward to right now.
That's true. You do like weird shit.
Yeah, but sometimes you really hit a good a home run with those. Africa, man. That was a good one.
Africa was a good one.
Sometimes we get Naughty Bear.
Young Danny Glover.
Oh, man.
And driving your Suzuki Samurai.
Go ahead, Matt. What do you got for Tanner?
All right, here's Tanner. Let me start off by saying congratulations on getting your first job and making your own money. And as a 31-year-old man, save it all. Don't buy video games at all.
Damn it, that's not why Tanner wrote in.
Yeah, but your parents are right. Be responsible. Don't be a piece of shit. Save 50% of it, right?
Spend it all, Tanner.
However, if you're going to be just like us when we were 17, spend every fucking dime of it and then some. Get a credit card, too.
There you go.
The only game...
you went from... really good advice to the worst advice you could ever give a 17-year-old. What the fuck happened?
Right now,
not in between for you, Matt? What the hell?
The age that I am right now, if somebody had told me when I was 17, hey, you just got your first job, save your entire paycheck while you're not paying rent and bills, I wouldn't have, but that's good advice to get. You should do that. So looking back from 31 to 17, I know that that's the right move. But at 17, fuck it. Like, that was my money. Nobody's going to tell me what to do with it, so I get it. I'm kind of with Ryan. No Man's Sky may be the only game that's on the horizon for this year that I give a shit about. And I don't know exactly how excited I am about that. So, I don't know, man. Take a girl out on a date. Buy one video game and then get a girlfriend. How about that? Is that a good answer? Does that work?
Yeah, that's amazing. No. Is it my turn now?
All of your advice was pretty much bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, Tanner. First, let me note that I am the oldest and wisest here. So, Ryan's on to something as far as the games he's looking forward to. Well, so's Matt. No Man's Sky is coming out. That looks good. It looks like it's going to take up some time, so it's money well spent for the time you're going to be playing it, if you like that game. As far as some of the other stuff, what I'm looking forward to is Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. I was a fan of the last one, and this one looks really good. They also have the Attack on Titan game coming out. I think they're both in July, or possibly August. But I am a huge fan of that anime, so that's pretty much probably more for me. If you're a fan of the anime, you may want to check it out. So as far as what I enjoy, that's really the only things that are on here, with the exception, of course, of the Division Underground DLC, which isn't a game, but it is DLC to a game that I play quite frequently. So if you have the Division, you may want to consider picking up the Division, something that's already been out as opposed to something that's coming out, because there is some good stuff back there. Don't be afraid to... I understand you're 17 and you got the whole world ahead of you and you're trying to break away from the past and get to graduation and get a job and all that. But don't be afraid to look behind you and see some of the good stuff that's back there as well. Not every good thing is always the next thing. I don't know what systems you're playing on. You didn't include that in your email, so whether it's my ultimate advice to you, regardless of what system you're playing on, Xbox One, PC, or PS4, would be to, if you really, really want know you want to spend that money on a game, but don't know what game, just buy some PlayStation points or Microsoft points or a PlayStation gift card, maybe a Steam card, and hold on to that. That way your parents can't make you spend it responsibly because it's already spent. However, you've already spent it on something that you can pretty much only get games with. So you've kind of covered both bases to take that entire situation, wrap it up into a nice tidy end, and go, well, here we are. And that way maybe you can hold on to that money for something you really do want rather than just spending it so you don't have to spend it responsibly.
True.
And I'm always about not spending it responsibly. Just ask my wife. So, ignore Matt's advice. You know, if you want to go out and buy candy and bubble gum and fucking tennis shoes and, I don't know, fucking flares, go ahead and do that.
Flares?
I mean, you got plenty of time for budgeting and bills, so spend it all if you want to, man.
Did you say
I'm just
flares?
Flares are fun.
Do people just go buy flares?
They may. I just sold 5 the other day.
Gun.
So yeah, they do.
I don't know.
A gun or just a flare?
A flare.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I don't think you can buy a flare gun until you're 21.
No, it's just like a roadside flare.
Gotcha.
Well, those aren't as fun.
Well, they
I
are.
can't alert someone to the emergency.
Hang on just a minute now. I'd pop off a flare too if I had one. I'd
too.
strike one of those and
but they're not
launch
as
it out
fun
into
as
the
being
yard.
like. Doosh.
Well, no.
Well, yeah, but I
You're
mean,
right.
what can you get at 17? Like a couple of road flares, dude. I would build like a
Don't buy flares.
buy some flares, man. That's
Don't
actually
get a
pretty good
credit
idea.
card.
Get a credit card.
Don't get a credit card.
And if you don't have Rocket League, for God's sakes,
pick it up.
buy Rocket League.
Yeah.
That's why I said sometimes it's okay. Sometimes the good things are in the
I
past.
just assumed that Tanner owns Rocket League.
You assume everybody owns Rocket League.
I
You assume
everyone
everybody's
should.
got a PlayStation and all of your favorite games right off the bat. So.
Right. So
Hey,
why
man, maybe
wouldn't he
go-
have Rocket League and Farming Simulator?
Maybe go reserve PlayStation VR. That was a good thing. I still
Okay.
think the girlfriend's a good idea.
I don't know. Here's the thing, though. I feel like he's 17, so
Or boyfriend,
if
or
he's
whatever you like,
wanting
Tanner.
if he's wanting to spend that money, he wants
Put him in a box.
He wants something now for that money. I remember being 17, and I was all about that instant gratification. I'm going to spend this money on this right here because now I have spent the money and I have this, and that's how that shit's supposed to work.
That's true.
That is true. I bought
Yeah.
many a shitty game to have one right then.
Well, exactly.
Oh man,
I've still
you and
I
me
still
both,
do that
buddy.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And then, so this is maybe a little pre-17, but like when your parents bought a game for you and you knew it was a bad choice, but you wanted it then, and then you had to like go home and pretend to fucking love it
Yeah.
because you convinced them to buy it for you.
Yep.
I played State of Emergency for like 60 hours because
Wow.
it took me forever to convince my dad to buy it for me.
What was that game? It was a fighting game, and during the Mortal Kombat Killer Instinct craze, but it was like all robots.
Oh, Rise.
Yeah. Rise of the Robots.
Rise of the Robots.
Dude, the frame rate on that game was like 4 frames per second.
That's all you need.
I begged my dad came down to visit from Chicago one time, and EB had it, and I begged for that game. He dropped like I don't know $70 or whatever the fuck a Super Nintendo game cost back then, and I put it in and played it for like 25 seconds, just long enough to see that it was unplayable.
You guys remember
And-
Way of the Warrior?
Yeah.
Oh man,
But see, I, unlike you, would continue to play mine to prove my point, in which that I really wanted this game, and the next
Right.
one you buy me is going to get played too.
no,
It's,
yeah,
all,
it was.
it's all about keeping that cycle rolling.
That
You're right.
perception up. Yeah, I would play.
Because if you hadn't have, what would have happened is your dad would have said, "I just bought you a game and you played it. You hardly played it. I'm not buying
right.
you another one."
So I would play a
Instead,
game
it
that
looks like an
sucked
investment.
until he went to bed, and then I would pop too extreme back in.
Because snowboarding's fun.
Because god damn it, that game's good.
Who can't wait for Steep? My God.
Some hands-on early stuff. Steep not very good apparently.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't look like there's much to it. It looks like
Got
it's
me
worth
let
playing
down
for about
because I thought
25
Steep
minutes.
was gonna
Yeah.
pop a semi-chub for this guy.
Yeah, it looks great. We'll see what happens. It's
We'll see. Yeah, still gotta
Ubisoft.
put
So.
the hands on it.
Anything that says Ubisoft is a 50-50 anyway, so.
I think you mean soon to be Vivendi.
Yeah,
Vivendi.
they own 20%. Come on,
They upped it.
I know. What do we got this week, Ryan? Come on.
Some
Thanks,
booze.
Tanner.
Yeah, thanks, Tanner.
Thank you, Tanner.
So this is interesting. It's something we've known for a little while, but I don't know if we've actually heard Microsoft speak directly to it. But apparently Microsoft tried to partner with both Nintendo and Sony before launching the original Xbox. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to handle the online component, the networking component, and the games. And they wanted the other to make the console itself. So speaking with IGN, co-creator of the Xbox, Ed Fries, said he proposed that Nintendo make the hardware, leaving the software and networking duties to the Windows company. Nintendo said no, not going to happen. So then they pull out the big guns. Bill Gates goes over to Sony and says, Sony, listen, you need us. Sony politely says, get the fuck out. So Microsoft launches the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
But how would things be different if Microsoft would have partnered with Nintendo?
For Nintendo, they'd be fantastic right now.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think it makes less sense for Nintendo, because to say Microsoft's going to handle the games, the software, that's what Nintendo does so well.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I think, to me, Microsoft pairing with Sony back in the day makes more sense, but I think for Nintendo right now, anything works.
Can you imagine Xbox Live if that's what PSN was?
Yeah, if PSN was Xbox Live, and if, let's be honest, Microsoft is pretty good at handling shit. So
yeah, but it's their software for me that they can't get in order. You know, if you told me that I could have the robust power that is Xbox Live instead of PSN, but I had to lose my first-party stuff.
Well, you got to remember,
trade-off.
Your first-party stuff, Naughty Dog wouldn't be a Sony studio. Naughty Dog would be an Xbox studio. So
or maybe not.
It'd be a Microsoft
maybe not.
studio.
So. You know, what if they just dissolve everything they have and then Microsoft handled everything?
Yeah, I don't know if that'd be true. I feel like there would always be first-party, second-party, third-party studios. In that case, you know, like technically, Microsoft would be a second-party studio to Sony at that point. So anything that had a Microsoft,
I think Nintendo
Halo would have been
still would have done their stuff. I just think that
you probably wouldn't have had Naughty Dog as a first-party studio and Santa Monica as a first-party studio.
I don't think I want Microsoft making Mario games, though.
You don't know.
I get what you're saying.
That's true.
But right now, wouldn't you love to see Microsoft take over any kind of development for Nintendo and just set them on a different track? I would. I think this is the opposite of what I always say, which is Nintendo should go to the other consoles and say, hey, how about we just make games that go on your console? But the other way around, I mean, this could have to continue to own Mario, Zelda, Metroid, and stuff like that, but let a video game company or studio outside of Nintendo make them is not a terrible idea. If Microsoft was handling the Nintendo software and online side, there's probably a good chance that Nintendo would be the only console that stands right now. And to have just fresh hands on those same IPs, nobody's going to take Mario and desecrate it and make it some upside-down nonsense Halo game, right?
But do you see Halo? Do you see Gears of War? Do those even exist on a platform where you partner with Nintendo?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
I don't know if they do.
I think you get something that's a little bit more akin to what Sony has out of Nintendo. You get big boy games and little boy games out of it. But I think what you get is like what we always talk about. Like, how great would it be if we designed like a Zelda game or a Mario game, which is total bullshit because designing games is hard work. But the idea of fresh eyes, like somebody who hasn't been in control of the IP for the past 200 years, taking the essence of what it is and what's great about it and making something that is in the same vein but that you haven't really seen before, right? Zelda is finally exploring what they should have done 10 years ago, which is following the footsteps of Morrowind and the great RPGs of the past 20 years, right? Zelda is finally there. What would it have been if Zelda was leading that charge? Because when Microsoft bought out, they handed it off to BioWare, right? What would Zelda be now? It would still be Legend of Zelda, but it would be this. It would be the game that RPGs follow. Action adventure RPGs would follow Zelda instead of the opposite, where Zelda is just now catching up. Mario would be leading platforming instead of playing catch up to what everybody else is doing or relying on a gimmick of the console, right?
See, I don't know. I think it's I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think that's very simplified by saying by these two getting together, this is what would happen. Nintendo's still going to have control of those properties, and they're still going to be dictating to whoever is making them how they want them to be. And if that company's not going to do that, then they're no longer part of it. On the flip side, now the thing is with Microsoft making games, they still have to pass Nintendo's code of conduct or what they're looking for. Honestly, I think it probably, money-wise, it may not have worked out as well, but longevity-wise, it may have worked out better for Microsoft because they're able to control their own message, their own games, their own console, their own software, hardware, networking, all of that, and there is no one else that they have to answer to or make happy, especially Nintendo, who is about 60-40 on actually making good decisions. Microsoft doesn't have to be part of that.
This is the second time in history that Nintendo's fucked up big time by not getting into bed with somebody else, right? The PlayStation being the first one, and potentially like this. You never know what would have happened with PlayStation or with getting into bed with Microsoft on the idea of merging Xbox and Nintendo. But I mean, what are we going to say when Nintendo finally goes under? Because they inevitably will as a console developer, and they become a third-party software developer or publisher. When that inevitably happens, will we look back on this again and say, man, they really fucked up by not taking Sony up on the PlayStation deal and not letting Sony come out with its own console, and they really fucked up with Microsoft?
I think because that's just another of the bad decisions they've made. I don't think you can chalk it all up to the one decision is why they went out of business. It's the combination of the bad decisions they made over 40, 50, 60, 70 years' time.
You're absolutely right there.
I also don't know that right now you can say that they're going to... They have had the rebound before. If they can ever figure out how to stop making the big mistakes in between...
If the NX fails the way that the Wii U did, they're done.
But if the NX does what the Wii did, they're on top of the world again.
But the Wii didn't do anything. Let's be clear.
Financially it did.
Financially it did, but the Wii didn't do anything to progress the industry at all.
They needed to fill the bank account back up.
The Wii is to me, the Wii and the GameCube are tied together. The GameCube was a revelation, and the Wii was just the way to sell the GameCube.
Well, yeah, because the GameCube didn't sell.
Right, but let's be honest. That's what the Wii is. The Wii is just a repackaged GameCube.
They need something to make money, and if the NX does that, they're as fine as they've always been.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, well, for a little while. I would consider that treading water, to ebb and flow like that, to go from the... not the financial pits, but to go from where they are with the Wii U back up to where they were with the Wii, and then on the next console cycle go, oh, fuck, now we're back down here where the Wii U is. I would say that's treading water. You're not making any headway. They need, 3 good consoles.
They need
the NES, the Super NES, and the N64 again is what they need.
Stop taking the steps back. They're gonna be good again. That's why I don't think it's so easy to say that they're done.
Right, but I think if that ever comes to a point where they are done, it's not going to be this decision or another decision that we're going to look back on. It's going to be, well, they did this and this and this and this and this and so on and so forth and so forth.
The other thing to remember is
they made any number of bad decisions that all accumulated in where they're at now. It's never going to come down to just one.
And that's taking the steps backwards now means more money than it did in the between N64 and the GameCube. That's a step back financially for them, yeah. But that same step now, you have to amplify it based on how much money they invested. I mean, they're taking larger steps back financially by not being successful, and they may not be taking an equal stride forward financially when they have something like the Wii come out. So when you're playing with larger sums of money, eventually you're going to run out. Even if you're making the same ebb and flow, they might make 2 good consoles in a row, but they may have taken such a financial step backwards with the Wii U, or with they still may be recovering from the GameCube that it doesn't make it possible. Or the NX fails, right? Now you got 2 console failures. You're playing with such large sums of money. The recovery may be 50 years, or it may be not possible.
But if you think about it, back when the Xbox was released, the Xbox lost Microsoft $5 billion.
Right.
And it didn't affect them a bit because of everything else they had going on. for a long time, Nintendo did the right things and just had this, just a pile of money sitting in their basement. So there are certain losses that they can afford to take that don't hurt them.
But how long can they afford to do that?
Well, but they've always ebbed and flowed. I mean, yeah, they're the Wii U didn't do well, but the DS is still selling like fucking hotcakes. So are the games. All that. They're still making them money on that front. So while they're losing here, they're making here, because they've got their hands in so many different things. So I think it's just important to keep in mind when you start talking about the ebb and flow and the loss and gain is. They've gained for so long that they may be able, and they have other things going on, they may be able to afford to take the loss and trying to perfect their craft. Don't get me wrong, I'm not defending Nintendo. I think they're more bad decision than good. But I'm just kind of devil's advocating it.
What do you think about... Do you think something like this has gone on behind the scenes recently? I mean, this report that we're referencing is 2001, back before the initial Xbox came out, when Microsoft was pouring money into development. Yeah. Do you think that there will come a report in about in 10 years' time, where we see that maybe Sony approached Nintendo and said, "Hey, let us buy you out of the console war. You guys make handhelds, and we'll publish your games for you." Do you think anything like that's happened recently?
No, I don't either. No. They're all in their place now. They've all found their stride, found their place, and that's where they're sitting comfortably. I mean, we're talking about little things about how, Microsoft and Sony are having trouble with crossplay between systems. So, no, I don't think it's even in the realm of possibility that either of those are talking to Nintendo, or Nintendo is talking to them about any sort of, get together or. But I mean, I would say that.
I would say that Nintendo's probably not even on their radar unless it's for a buyout. I would say Sony doesn't bat an eyelash at Nintendo, and Microsoft isn't really looking over their shoulder either. So unless it's to make a financial gain from Nintendo, I don't see that
here's the thing,
the two big guys are really paying attention to.
Here's the thing you forget. I don't think Nintendo is batting an eye at Microsoft or Xbox either, because they feel they do something different.
Right, I mean, they're wrong, but they
right. I mean, but in their mind, you know what? We'll let those guys fight it out because we do our own thing and people love us. That's been Nintendo forever. I don't see that changing at all. That's one of the many mistakes they make, is that old style thinking.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting topic to think where it might have went. Read the full interview over at IGN. It's interesting.
Yeah, there's some stuff in there. It's cool to see the behind the scenes stuff. Bill Gates going to Sony.
I know that's what shocked me the most is to think of him walking in and sitting down and going, "Look, guys,
here's what we
got. Know you're trying to do this video game thing. Here's why you need Microsoft."
Right.
I think that's pretty neat. Let's move on to a couple of quick news stories and then close this thing out so you guys can have the rest of your day back.
Yeah.
Dan, why don't you take this first one because you're the only one that cares?
Fuck you, buddy. New Mass Effect books will bridge the gap between the trilogy, the original trilogy, and Andromeda. Now, if you've ever wondered what happened after the main Mass Effect trilogy and before next year's Mass Effect Andromeda, well, wonder no more. This is going to be covered in a new series of novels from Titan Books. The novels will act as a prequel to the new game, and sequels to the events of the past games, and they are going to become part of the overarching Mass Effect saga, also known as canon. They will become Mass Effect canon. They're going to focus on some of the key characters and answer some of the questions that many of the people have had. There's going to be 4 of them. The first one, titled Mass Effect Andromeda Initiation, is being written by N.K. Jemisin, who is apparently pretty big in the sci-fi author world at this point.
News to me.
Well, it's not your George R.R. Martin type of sci-fi fantasy. It's more of the futuristic type stuff.
Right.
Fairly new. I think only has 2 or 3 books, but they did very well. And Mass Effect series writer Mac Walters is going to pen the last one, which does not yet have a title. Cool. But it is slated for March 2018. So if you're into Mass Effect, you're going to want to pay attention to those. I can tell you that the last books were interesting. They were not great. they kind of filled in some of the stuff on the characters, and actually the prequels to the original Mass Effect trilogy. So, but I mean, I read them all, so I'll be reading all these too.
Does knowing that the last game comes out, or the last book rather, is going to release March of 2018 after the game comes out next year? I mean, does that tell you anything about the ending of what this game is going to be, or the continued universe? I mean,
no. I think it's going to fill in. I think the first book is going to kind of hit on some of the books that are released before the game comes out are going to probably, in my mind, hit on some of the events that happened in between that maybe tie the two games together. I'm sure there's another war, or say the new training, facility that they came up with to try to prepare to look at other parts of the galaxy or something. But then I think the ones you see come after that are maybe going to focus on some of the characters that people grow to love in that game. And kind of focus on their specific in-between story. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
I think it's probably what you'll see happen there. I'm not an editor. I don't work for any publishing company, so I have no clue if that's right or not. But that's what I think. I think any of them released before are going to cover events to tie the two together. And then they're going to wait and find out who the favorite characters that everybody has. And then the books after that will be about those characters. So...
cool.
That's what I say. What's next? Who's got the next one?
I'll do this one. So, Sony has reached a settlement deal in a class action lawsuit related to the PS3, and it's since removed Linux support. And I pointed my finger at the audience, could be getting money. Apparently, the settlement is for roughly $55. If you had Linux installed on your PS3, I don't know where you would make this statement, but it says you need to, quote-unquote, attest under oath to the purchase of the product and installation of Linux, provide your proof of purchase and serial number for the Linux install component, your PlayStation Network sign-in ID, and submit some proof of their use of the other OS's functionality, so I guess maybe a screen cap or something to that nature. We didn't include a link here, so I'm not sure if there's a website where you can do this, or if there's I assume there's somewhere that you go to make this statement.
A lot of work for $55.
Yeah,
it
no
is.
Kidding.
But if you, I could, if you were running Linux on your PlayStation 3 for something other than gaming, like if you ran it as a server or something like that, or some kind of processing power, and that update knocked it out and took all your work, I mean, go get your money, go get your $55 or whatever they're willing to pay you. It's better than nothing. So there's that. I mean, I'm kind of sad I didn't have Linux installed, but who gives a shit, really? So anyway, if you had Linux, there's what you do.
And if you're not sure if you had Linux, you probably
then you didn't have Linux. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you would know.
It's a big week for PlayStation Vue. It's now available on Roku, and it's coming to Android devices the week you're listening to this podcast. And I think that's what Vue needs, because I think PlayStation Vue is a decent product. I think their pricing is a little high, but you got to be able to watch it more places than just your PlayStation or online.
I agree, and I think Roku is a good decision, because Roku is really the leader in those streaming type channels.
They're one of the only things that you can get like HBO through, which is fantastic. You can get HBO through PlayStation,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
this next one,
this one sucks.
Kinda does. This is what you say no matter what.
Kind of makes sense, too.
True. Supermassive Games says it's not currently working on a sequel to the awesome horror game Until Dawn. It said this in an interview at GameIndustry.biz. Again, you can read the whole article over there. Here's the thing, though. Supermassive would say this no matter what.
True.
Supermassive also may be working on a game like Until Dawn that is not Until Dawn 2.
Right.
There's no reason they can't make a game in the style of Until Dawn that has nothing to do with it, that they don't call that is not an actual sequel.
True.
Yeah.
That's very true.
They also clearly said they weren't working on anything, and then announced the VR
fucking stupid thing. Yeah.
Until
tomorrow.
Hey, also at the VR thing yesterday, that was the most requested game to play in line.
What was?
And the the on rails Until Dawn thing.
Most people say that it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, they didn't have it there. There were some restrictions on language and what they could show, so they didn't have it there. But everybody in line, with the exception of like me and Ricky, asked to play it, and Donna said that's the most requested game since they've set it up. And at E3, it was the most played game on PlayStation VR.
Wow.
with the best response was the Until Dawn on rails.
It's really, really good.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, I was surprised too.
Rush of Blood. Let me just call it the right thing.
Rush of Blood.
Yeah, she said that was the best game that you could sit down and play, get a great idea for VR, and it was the most requested game.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, I was surprised by it too. It seems stupid, but
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah.
so very cool.
Now it's time for Ryan's favorite. Ryan, you want to take us through it?
Sure.
So I know it's your favorite.
It's time for Gone But Not Forgotten, the newest and my favorite segment, where we reach back in our gaming past, we pull out just some old classics, some old gem that we had stored away in a suitcase.
Boom.
Maybe a container.
Maybe they just had the case in an old video store.
Maybe you can't buy the box. And we tell you all about it, why you should play it, why we love it, and maybe you'll check it out somehow. This week it's Matt's turn.
Yeah, and there's a game that you should definitely go get today. Go buy a PlayStation 1 for $5 somewhere. If you got one in the closet, dust it off. Go get yourself a copy of Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer was probably the first racing game that I remember playing that was in full 3D, that wasn't like Cruising USA or something like that, or sprites,
Now, before you start talking about it, does this game hold up?
Man, I hope so, because I haven't
feel
played
like
it
it
in a while.
probably doesn't.
It may not, but here's the thing. Ridge Racer at its time I thought was like a full-blown simulation race game. But it's an arcade game. It has like,
100%, right?
Yeah, 100% arcade race game to like power brake. You just press the brake and then you like, I don't know, man. It was a cool game. You race fast and it's fun. I think it probably still holds up for what it is. If you could get it for a couple of bucks on PlayStation Now, I think absolutely get it and play it. Here's the fun of having a PlayStation 1 with it. Ridge Racer on PlayStation 1, you could load the game, and once you got to the menu, you could open the PlayStation, pop the disc out, and put in your favorite music CD, and close the top. And when you started racing, you would get the sound effects for the game, but it would also play the tracks from the CD that you'd put in, which was like, it was one of the only games that did it, and in its time blew my mind, because that was like having, on Xbox 360 you could go in and grab your music library and play from the jukebox while you're playing Fallout, right? Well, you could do it on PlayStation 1 with Ridge Racer. There were only like 6 cars, and there were only like 2 of them worth racing, and there were only like 7 tracks. But I remember having a badass time racing my friends with Ridge Racer, and it's spawned like 9 sequels at this point. So they were doing something
Ridge
right
Racer
back then.
also.
What's that?
I played the shit out of Ridge Racer also.
It was a great game, man. I probably fell in love with racing games at Ridge Racer, because that was before Gran Turismo.
I played that one.
Yeah, that was before Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit, Gran Turismo. It was before all those IPs came out, and there was just Ridge Racer. So, good game. Go get it. It's you probably got a copy laying around somewhere that you didn't know you had.
That music feature coming to Xbox One, something we didn't talk about last week.
Really?
Yes.
Yep.
Man, they need to do that on PlayStation bad. That is one thing missing from PlayStation 4, is the ability to put music on the hard drive and listen to it while you're playing any game. Xbox 360 did it. It was brilliant for long play. Like, No Man's Sky is going to need that, because there's no way you're going to sit down and play it for 4 hours listening to the in-game soundtrack and not get bored of the music.
That'd be great with Fallout 4. Just wandering around the wasteland and listening, jamming to tunes in your head.
I think it would be cool if they would partner with somebody too, like partner with Spotify or something, where it'll actually play that through there.
Yeah, you could do that, but you should also have the option to load it off a hard drive. Yeah. Games like sports titles, right? Like MLB, where you have walk-up music, you can do custom walk-up music. So they have a way to pull external audio in, and games like WWE need it so that you can put your own entrance themes in there, but every game should have the ability to listen to whatever music you want to. But I don't know why not. I mean, the music industry is such a fucking farce, man. Fuck those guys. They have so much red tape for anybody to get around that you can't do anything. That's
what this week's Calm But Not Forgotten, and a public service announcement.
Yeah, fuck the music industry, dude.
Brought to you by Matt.
Steal every song that you ever listen to for the next year. Fucking steal it. The music industry doesn't deserve a fucking dime.
If you Also,
do that.
Matt's
Don't say it
views
was
do
our
not
idea.
directly reflect those of
Right.
Gamestitch.
Exactly. If by chance you happen to receive a cease and desist order, do not
Ignore it.
Do not tell them that it was our idea, because that is not what happened.
If you have a game you want to recommend to us, make sure you hit us up on Twitter at @game_stitch and use the hashtag GBNF, Gone But Not Forgotten, and let us know what gem we should be talking about, and we might read yours on this podcast. But we might not if it sucks real hard. Like if you write in and you're like, I'll tell you what you should check out, State of Emergency, I'll probably just delete that email.
You played that for 60 hours. What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude, tell
That
us
game
about it.
sucked.
Played the shit out of that game.
That game
You
is the
loved
one that
it.
had the sticker on the front. It's like you got to be a goddamn adult to buy this. Like it had an extra like round red 18-year-old sticker on the front.
For
it was
what?
so hardcore because Rockstar was going more hardcore than ever.
What made it more hardcore?
Nothing. It was like cartoony, not good. The game sucked. The game sucked. Hard.
It's too bad.
Be sure to write in podcastgamestitch.com with your questions, comments, and concerns for the show. Just like Tanner did. Could have been you instead of Tanner. Could have been you in addition to Tanner.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait for the day where we get 2 in one show.
That's called a 2-in-1.
Yeah, a twofer.
Yeah, a 2 for Tuesdays.
That'd be good.
Only it'll be a 2 for Sunday or Monday.
Yeah. Hey, whatever.
Whatever time you want, whenever you listen to it. We're
What
not
about
trying to
a-
control you.
What about a 4-play Friday?
We're not getting 4.
I think it's a different 4.
What about
Four-play.
a 3-play Thursday?
Triple threat.
Triple heat.
Triple threat
deke.
Thursday. The triple deke.
Triple D.
Yeah. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am
Not
@PodcastRyan.
to be confused with the double Lindy.
I am
Triple
@PodcastRyan. Stop talking hockey.
Stop it, Dan.
No, that's swimming.
It's all the same.
No, swimming and hockey are different.
If it's
One's
not a
on
sport I
ice,
care
one's in
about, they're all the
water.
same. There are sports I like, and then there are fucking other
They're
sports.
completely different.
I just toss them all in a bucket. They don't fucking matter. Soccer, you're over there.
I think you mean football.
No, I mean soccer.
What about yard darts?
Those are in for a sport.
That's right.
Anything where you might lose an eye
Is
It's
always
good.
A sport.
that I have all the tools to do.
So technically pole vaulting. Because
Pole vaulting, different. Where you jump
Paul
over your friend Paul.
Right, who's
pole
Paul?
vaulting.
Paul's a real son of a bitch.
Anyways,
Pole vaulting, because you could put your eye out with that.
Anyways, I was trying to say, if you want to find me on social media, I am @PodcastRyan. Dan is @Dollars2002, and Matt is @GoddammItMatt.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to find the show, it's @Game_Stitch. You should definitely follow it, because
Why not, right?
yeah, because it's not going to fucking hurt you to smack a button.
Right.
True.
Sometimes we give away shit. Just ask our winners
What are you going to ask him?
Winner, winner,
if we
chicken
give away
dinner.
shit. Did they give you shit? Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
What's it like to win something?
Yeah. You could have been on the list, but you weren't fucking following us. You assholes.
You asshole.
They have multiple assholes.
Yes.
Right, I get it.
It's time to wrap our show up with the Dan's favorite segment.
Is it?
I don't know. I just locked up. I don't know what I was going to say. So I made it yours.
No, I just want
It's
to talk about a conversation I heard this week. And about losses in the middle of fucking Target.
Wow.
So there's a no, like in a
Like
good
most
way.
good stories,
No,
they
like
take
laughing,
place in a Target.
like laughing.
Oh.
But not because it's a good story. It's because it's actually kind of mean, but it's fucking hilarious, which is right up my alley. So I'm in Target. I'm in a long line. For some reason, you only have like 2 lines, and they're both incredibly long. And all I want to do is buy like a box fan. So I have one thing. So I'm in line. I'm already not happy. In front of me, a couple doors up, you know what I mean, a couple people up. There's this kid that's just crying, yelling,
that kid.
screaming, a baby. Just
Yeah.
going. You know how babies sound when they cry, right? Yeah,
Just like
fucking-
that.
Good
fucking
slap
annoying.
will fix that.
Fucking annoying. So, this lady, and she's one of those moms that doesn't realize her kid's a fucking pain in the ass.
Right.
She's like, oh, he's so cute, even though I can fucking see his esophagus. So she's holding him, and she's like turning around, smiling, and she's like, he just needs to be changed. And without a fucking beat, there's this guy behind me, and he's like, yeah, hopefully into a puppy or something that's fucking quiet. And I wanted to fall down on the floor fucking laughing because it was the perfect statement for that moment.
You should have.
Yeah, there's no reason you couldn't.
So funny.
And then when you're on the floor, you start kicking your legs and spinning in a circle.
Right, and then start screaming so everybody can see your
esophagus.
esophagus.
Need to be changed?
Yeah.
Right, then
or what
maybe
if
you'll
you start
change into a
screaming and
puppy.
say you need to be changed? He goes, is it acceptable for me to do it?
Right.
Because I shit my pants too.
Then shut your child up.
Right.
So, but man, it was so... Because the guy didn't know I heard him. You know,
did the mom hear?
Yeah, no, I was like the only one who heard him.
Yeah, and you didn't turn around and like smack his dick or anything. Let him know you appreciated it.
No, but
I like that it was just for you though. That's
him
good.
and I never talked. But I'm pretty.
You
sure
should at least give him some kind of like, good one.
I'm pretty sure you like saw my shoulders shaking because I was holding my laugh in because I heard him letting little noises out. Like he was laughing because I was laughing, and then it was just.
He might have lost me if he laughed at his own joke.
But he was laughing at me laughing at it.
I was in
because I don't think he knew anybody heard it. I thought he thought he was quiet enough that nobody heard.
If your joke is good, laugh at your own joke.
No. You don't get to laugh at your own joke, no matter how stellar it is.
Yeah, you get to, especially if you can get somebody else laughing and they have contagious laughter like Dan, and it makes you laugh back.
No, because then you're like it was funny, but it's less funny because it's so good you can't even contain it. You gotta keep it together.
That's fine.
You want to tell a joke and you want to stare into their soul.
You just dead-eyed right at them.
If I tell a joke, I don't laugh at it, but if somebody else starts laughing, people laughing look funny, so I start laughing. And it's especially awesome when you can't actually see them laughing, but you see them trying to hold it in, and like their body does that weird shake thing, and their shoulders jump up
I do
and
hate
down.
when that happens.
When you get a comeback that's unexpected like that, like you surprise yourself with it, go ahead and laugh at it, though. When you're like, shit, that was funny.
Sometimes, though, the best moments are when nothing is said, but you look at somebody and you have the same thought.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I can't keep it together.
And you both know it?
Yeah, because you both start laughing, and I'm a fucking train wreck at this point. If anyone looks like they might laugh, I'm still laughing. Like, I look down, and I'm like, I'm good. I look up, and I fucking lose it again. Because whatever it is, I just know that's like, whatever someone did was so fucking stupid that someone else was able to look at me, and we were able to have a conversation without words.
It's happened to us. I mean, we've done that just talking over PSN.
Right. I had one at work in a meeting one time that I thought I was going to get thrown out of the meeting. The only thing that saved me, and this was the last job, the only thing that saved me is that the other person was my boss.
Oh.
And after the meeting, we went outside, and the DM said, what was so fucking funny? So obviously we weren't casual about it.
Right.
But I didn't know what else to do. Like, short of just getting out of the room and just walking out, I did my best. But it fucked me up. That was a good one. Now, what if he'd have pulled a wand out and made it happen?
Well, I would have run
She's just
away.
holding a can of soup.
It wouldn't
less
be
funny,
so funny.
yeah. More amazing.
She's just holding a can of soup, just rocking a cream of mushroom.
No, then there's like Satanism involved or something, or paganism.
Oh, come on.
It's time to run.
Have you seen Harry Potter?
I have.
Man, HP is a good-ass movie.
What is?
Might watch HP, Harry Potter.
Oh.
Hewlett-Packard.
Hewlett-Packard.
That's what I was wondering what the fuck he was talking about.
This has been
HP.
episode 181 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. Thanks for being here, guys. It's all warm and fuzzy whenever everybody's on the couch together.
It is?
Yeah.
Coffee?
Behind the scenes, we're not on the couch or together.
Right.
True.
I just built the wall up and then tore it down.
They wouldn't have known if we wouldn't have told them.
It's true. They wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
But I like to keep it real with our listeners. And
Right.
we like you to keep it real with us. So make sure you rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Android, Google Play-ish, whatever that store's called.
Yeah. Whatever else.
However you listen, however we get into your ears and we just slam around inside your head, be sure to rate us, follow us, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your buddies, tell the people you don't like. Hey, fuck you, listen to this podcast. They won't understand your tactics, but maybe we'll get some more listens, and that'll help us.
Sure.
Yeah, it could happen.
Bigger the show gets, bigger the prize gets.
That's true. That's true.
Behind the scenes, no prize. I'm just building it up, tearing it down.
Maybe you should stop with the behind-the-scenes stuff. I feel like it's
People like to see how things work. Don't you like to see how things work, Matt?
Yeah, I like to know the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
This isn't really mechanics of it. This is something different.
Is it, or is it all mechanics?
I don't know what you're
Are we just a
talking
cog?
about.
Despite
All
all
of
my
us-
rage, I am still just a rat in a cage, right? Is that what you're
That's
saying?
There's no
here.
place for smashing pumpkins here. Let's
what I
be
hear.
clear.
That's what
How
I
weird
hear.
is it now when I listen to the radio on classic rock stations, they play Nirvana?
Yeah. That's how it should be, though.
I mean, at this point, it is classic rock.
I understand that. It doesn't make it not weird.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'm out. Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Cool.